Hi, welcome to Toy Hill Studio. I'm going to do one more center of my mind paintings, and then I'm going to get probably to my Skyline Beauty paintings. They're very popular, and I always like to work with different things. I just like to move around from different subject matter. This time I'm going to try something different. I say that every time, never know what happens. These are very experimental paintings. I'm going to use a larger brush and really just kind of put a lot of paint on and probably not let it bleed so much, but I'll see what happens. And if it turns out that it actually starts to look like something, then instead of center of my mind, it's going to be one of my suggestions paintings. That's when I just put the paint on there in an abstract manner. If something shows up, I go with it. Kind of like, looking at things in clouds. Anyway, I have some ideas of what I want to do, but never know until I do it. I'm going to really just blotch the color around and see what happens. And I know if you've watched any of my YouTubes, you have heard this many times, but I always like to explain what this kind of art is, because I always run into people that just think artists just do this because they can't draw or something, which couldn't be further from the truth, especially in my case. It is a way of presenting art without distractions. We all have visual biases. We all have certain things we like to see, certain things we're not as interested in seeing. When artists work this way, you either like it or you don't like it just because of the way it looks. It's what we call pure art, and I don't consider that better than art that looks like something. It's just music without words, art that has no distractions. And you like it or you don't like it because of the way it looks, and you don't have to like it, good grief. No law that says you have to like any kind of art, but we certainly hope you do. To us, it's for so many of us, it's just what we truly live for, and it's important just to get this out to the world. I am always so happy to sell a piece, sell a lot of prints too, but it's more important to me to sell the originals so that they have homes. Can't take them with me. Okay. I don't like what's happening. I'm kind of doing a blotch in that. I really am using it rather thick. Don't usually do this. Usually start off with a thinner layer, so it's coming across as a very heavy painting, getting into almost an impasto effect. And I kind of like it. I usually do. I'm not letting it bleed at all. I usually do. If you've watched my YouTube, I've let the paint bleed a lot, which creates a lot of interesting effects. This time I am more in control of what's happening. Yeah, it's kind of interesting. I'm not seeing anything, so I have a feeling, oh crud, I just got paint on my camera. Yikes, hope it didn't hurt my camera. It's just on the side. Should be able to get that off later. Oh well, it's always awkward to do this. I forgot what I was saying. Oh yeah, I'm not really seeing anything in it. Mainly because of the really controlled way I'm putting the paint on. I'm not letting it do much. I'm really kind of deciding, reacting to the colors as I put it on there. It is bleeding a little in certain areas, so it's just not showing anything. At least I'm not seeing anything. You might be seeing something. Putting a more of a purple color here. Don't know. This may be a real short YouTube. May just have a very unusual painting for me. This is certainly not typical, and I wanted to do that. It's always great to try different things, and I normally work with a much smaller brush and let get a whole lot more interaction with the space and the sizing, and I'm not doing that this time. But I have a feeling it's going to be a one-coat job. I don't think going back into this is probably going to be a very good idea. I don't know. I got my hairdryer here in case I do decide to get to the next layer, and I'm going to need a hairdryer because I've really put a lot of paint on. Acrylics dries very fast, as I've said many times, but this is pretty thick. So I think I might just get a smaller brush now. I wish I'd gotten more water. This water's getting kind of cruddy, but I'll just go ahead and go with it. And just maybe do some accents or something. I wanted to use a different green and work that off with some real strong blues, but that may be something I have to wait. Might have to wait for it to dry. So much of what I'm saying doesn't make a lot of sense, but it's the result of many, many years, decades of painting, of reacting to it, of studying it, of just painting. And I can't really explain what I'm doing. If I could, I wouldn't do it. But it's mainly a reaction to colors and textures in this one. And because I used a large brush, I kind of feel like the need for some smaller marks into it. Don't want to lose the color contrast though, which tends to happen a lot, or at least does for me when I keep building it up, because I lose some real sharp areas. Yeah, I think this is going to be a good idea, using the smaller brush to get more contrast. And then it's going to get very complicated, and then it's going to be like, oh no, when do I quit? When do I quit? Yeah, getting some lines back into it too. Yeah, using a real big brush for a whole painting is definitely not me. In my regular stuff, I get down to the smallest brush. In fact, I start with a small brush, and then I get down to this little tiny brush. Takes a long time. That's why I charge by square inch. Each square inch has gone over many times. Just finished my recent floral painting that I'm real happy with. I had that worst time photographing it. God, it's hard to photograph artwork. And I've had so many years of experience, but it doesn't matter how many years you have. I've noticed that when there's a lot of a certain blue color, when I photograph it, it looks kind of transparent. It doesn't have the depth that it does in the painting. And I figured out today that I really needed to change the contrast. And by doing that, it helped a lot. But it is hard. I knew a professor whose work was just so complicated and so delicate in areas you really couldn't photograph it. And the person that said that was someone who really knows about photography too. But that's what makes it, in a way, art, something unique. I like the way this has bled in a few areas, and I don't want to mess with that. Didn't mean for that to happen, but it's creates a nice contrast. How many minutes have been going? Oh, only 8. Okay. Creates a nice contrast. Be sure to get that paint off the side when I'm done. This is awkward, but I don't know any other way how I can do it. I can have that camera back, but I really would just prefer to show my hand and not all of me. It's just kind of awkward because then I'm in front of the painting, so it's like I could do it from the side, but then that's awkward too. So what I wanted to do, which I'm not doing, is there's 2 greens that I wanted to really put opposite some real strong blues. And I'm not getting that very well. Try a little bit more, and then I'm going to say enough. Yeah, that's what I wanted, right through there. Wanted to really play that color off. Yeah, I'm real glad I got a smaller brush. Now it's starting to get much more interesting to me. As I've said many times, I really like very complicated work. All my work is complicated, and most of it is what we call representational, the way things look basically, with my interpretation and my elaboration. I'm not a photographer. That's not my aim, to perfectly recreate nature. And if you've listened to me before, I said ad nauseum, you can't really do that. As Monet pointed out, you can just get a naive impression. But you can certainly get a really good shadow, especially for most people, because most people aren't out there watching the colors change every second. And the average person does not see the cool colors in a lot of shadows. They see it as gray or brown or something. Okay, I'm getting to the point where I think it's getting very complicated. I might want to quit. Might use a little more blue I don't use my purple very much because it always seems to just kind of pan out a dull color. And I don't want that. I'm really into vibrant color effects, and I don't want my colors to get dull in any way. Oh, I forgot to mention I'm starting another Blue Ridge painting. I'm real excited about it. An overlook painting with a white pine, which are so beautiful. And the reason I want to do it with a white pine is because they have such wonderful open space. And I love to have the sky and the colors in a sunset in between all those spaces too. Because of the greens and the yellows and the colors of the light hitting the tree, it becomes a really beautiful effect. I'm trying to get the word. Beautiful glowing effect. Okay, I don't know. I think I might have to just quit on this one. I have a feeling I'm just going to repeat myself over and over again and lose what I've got. It's always hard to stop. It's just as hard to stop a painting that looks like something too. There's always like, oh, a little more color here, or the texture's not quite right here. But especially this kind, for me it is, as this isn't my main thing. I think I would put a little more yellow into it. And I don't want the little whites showing through. Okay. I'm still, I like that bleeded area, but the color is so soft there. I don't know if I want to leave it like that or not. Well, I think I'm going to quit. Can always go back into it later, but I think that's probably enough for the YouTube, and then I'll look at it and decide whether I want to change some things. Thank you for watching. Be sure to check out the link in the description because it may change a lot. And as I've always said, I can't really get the colors right on the YouTube. You really need to see it on my website. Also, there are links to my shop on Etsy, WordPress, and other sites.